What's your thoughts on government cover-ups or covert societies attempting to control humanity? Do you believe in ancient astronauts, intergalactic communication, or extraterrestrial visitations? Ever had an experience with disembodied spirits or the paranormal universe? Are these subjects fact or fiction? Each week, Tony and Eddie explore these unbelievable realities and beyond. Exclusively on Truth Be Told.
Eddie, why are we whispering?
We're whispering because there's going to be a seance today. We're going to do a little psychic spiritual circle. We're going to be calling in some wonderful beings from the other side.
Oh my God, that is so awesome. But I think you should introduce our first guest.
Great idea. We have in-house today paranormal expert, psychic medium, and pet communicator, Benjamin Scuglia. And in the house today, we have Melanie Benz. We have Damona Hoffman.
Whoop, whoop.
We have myself, Word Up. And we have Tony Sweet, of course.
Thank you, Eddie. Well, for all you listeners that are tuning in live for our Halloween show, I want you to sit back, relax, light a candle, and let's just bring in the angels and spirit guides.
Love that. And while we're bringing in the spirit guides, let's also bring in white light, protection, master teachers, the beings of light and love that will govern every chakra in our bodies. And now we would like to turn the floor right over to our paranormal expert, Mr. Benjamin Scuglia.
Thank you so much. I feel like I should still be whispering.
Yeah, right?
There you go.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Happy Halloween.
Awesome.
Happy Halloween.
So, Benjamin, for
Yes,
all
sir.
of us, well, not all of us, because we're not psychic virgins or medium virgins or pet communicator
Ooh,
virgins.
okay.
For all of the...
What kind of place is this? Okay.
Yeah. Under
Right.
the table, there's Wesson oil and plastic, and it's that kind of seance.
Don't tell our secrets.
So
Wesson
we would
oil.
love for you to...
I did do a ghost hunting search on a porn set.
Oh, that would
I
have been.
believe
That's
I would
a
have loved to
reality
have
show.
been there.
Sorry to interrupt that, but I had to let you know that.
But
I
see,
thought you
that's the
said
kind of
sweaty interrupt. I was like, what?
Oh,
I'm just
no,
kidding.
I love it. So tell Tony's listeners exactly how you do what you do and what you'll be doing for us today.
Sure. Thank you very much. I know we were just doing the kind of thing, but what I do, I consider energy work. Everything in the universe is held together with energy, including you and I, and animals and everything is held together with energy. And so what I do is tune into that energy. I like to describe it as you're the radio station and I'm the radio. And I listen to the song that is being played. And we all have intuition. We all have the idea of what intuition exists already in our culture. We have women's intuition. We all believe in that. We have a parent's intuition. You know, we all have that. We've all had vibes from people. Even, you meet somebody for the first time and they didn't do anything, or they're not doing anything aggressive, or they're not anything strange, but you just don't trust them. You get that vibe. So that concept already exists in our culture, and so I have I guess a more acute antenna for it, and it's an energy language, and I just sort of listen to that language, and I try to tune that in, and I try to bring as much humor to it as I can, and respect for the exchange of energy.
Yes.
But I try to bring as much humor into it as I possibly can, because it helps us relax, and I think there's a lot of flim-flammery out there related to this, shall we say. And
I was like,
you may have heard of one or two. And so I think, and so I try to, people come, to for a session. They hire me for something, whether it's for ghost hunting or for a pet reading or a mediumship session, and they have certain, they're looking for something, and they're open-minded, and that's the kind of thing I draw to myself. That's what I want to, those are the kinds of people I want to be around. But there's also that expectation in their head of, What is it really? He's just going to cold read and tell me, okay, it's a letter J. No, it's a letter K. No, it's a letter M. Oh, M. It's Michael. Mona, yeah. So I try to bring a lot of, because people already have that expectation. See, look, she's amazed. How did I know? So again, I try to get people laughing, and I try to get them relaxed. And again, it's just energy work. It's just listening to energy work. I don't have a lot of, I don't consider it a lot of woo-woo sort of thing. I am talking, on an energetic level, I guess, to your pets or to your loved ones who have crossed, but I don't consider it mysterious at all. I think it's energy that we just haven't figured out how to measure yet. If you watch ghost hunting shows, we have equipment that kind of can measure it, but it's not what that equipment is built for.
Yeah.
So it's very crude. It's energy work, plain and simple. And I usually, when I have somebody make an appointment, I usually have a little meditation session, a little prayer session, right when I make when the appointment is made, and then I have another one right beforehand, and I try to listen and see what happened, what comes through, and what sort of pictures and feelings that I get. I don't hear voices a lot. In my head, I don't hear that a lot, but I do get sensations, I do get smells, I do get feelings, and it's just an energy language. I wish I had a more poetic way to describe it, but it's an energy language, and we go from there, And we have a lovely dog in the studio with us today, and that's what I started doing when I started studying channeling. By the way, you're going to have to your ear off. So if you want to get going, get going, just let me know. Just kind of snap your fingers out.
Just whenever you're ready. Just when you're ready. This is fascinating. I love what you're saying, because you're saying I set the tone, I do my prayer, I create a space of energy, and then I heighten the energy or the frequency with the prayer and also the humor.
Yes.
Because when people are more relaxed, the energy goes up. The higher the energy goes up, the more the more they want to come in from the other side and play.
Exactly. And I always have a little mantra. So we hold the energy of this vortex, and that's we hold the energy, meaning me, my spirit guides, the clients, their spirit guides. We hold the energy of this vortex, meaning nobody comes in that we don't want to come in.
Love that. Should we all say that together?
Sure, if you'd like to.
I don't want no hitchhiking ghost.
No.
Okay.
Well, you say it, then we'll repeat after you.
Sure. We hold the energy of this vortex.
We hold the energy of this vortex.
Exactly.
Bam.
Nobody comes in that I don't want in. And when I do ghost hunting work, I always kind of, before I go into the house or the property, I always think we hold the energy of this vortex, but I am opening the door to whatever might be here. But it's sort of putting an image came to me when I was first studying this work of being in sort of a horse paddock, and I'm standing at the back of it, and I'm facing the gate, and I'm safe inside this little enclosure, but the energy is flowing around me. So I can still see what's flowing around me, but it's not coming in. I'm safe. I'm enclosed. We hold the energy of this vortex. I don't know. I didn't grow up with horses. I don't know why that image came to me, but I think of that a lot, especially when I'm doing ghost hunting work, or when I'm somebody who has a troubled relationship with somebody they want to talk to.
Yes.
And, just like us, not all spirits are settled. They're not all happy.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps, that helps to hold that, kind of, we hold the energy of this vortex, and, we're going to open the door to you, but we are setting the parameters here,
And I know we were talking about earlier how pets bring the purity, and I think it brings calmness to a lot of people, especially in the room, or, patients that are ill. And I think, having a pet here today, I think that's going to be a great start.
Yes.
For bringing spirits.
I love it. And they usually go right to sleep. So
Biggie's asleep.
I was like, she's
Starting
so
to a
well
little bit.
behaved.
That's not unusual at all. Where I'll just that. Because now we're talking about it. I did a trance session for somebody, and just recently, and I came out of this session, and the dog was lying on his back right in the middle of the room with his legs kind of straight. Like,
Oh my God.
she said he just wandered over and just kind of rolled over right in the middle, and I thought it happens all the time.
I love that.
As we know, dogs especially are very. They live in the moment. Nothing exists except for right now, which is the reality that we all live in anyway. We try to convince ourselves that we have some kind of ability to control the past or the future, and we don't. So dogs are a constant reminder of that we live in the moment. We live right now. And so I love starting, if people are open to it,
Yes.
I love starting with that.
We're totally open and excited. So Do your magic. Your other magic.
Thank you very much. So Biggie, you said Biggie. I'm sorry, your name is
Melanie.
Melanie. Thank you, Melanie. Biggie, which is a great name for a Chihuahua.
It's actually Biggie Smalls, but Biggie
Smalls,
for short.
Biggie Smalls. The first thing that comes up is that he says that's not my name, really.
Okay.
That's not my name, really. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I call him so many different names.
Okay, because whatever Biggie Small, he likes the energy that you project. You know, dogs don't understand English, obviously, but they understand the energy that you project when you say that specific sound. I know that means me.
Yeah.
So he really likes that. He likes the energy that comes with that. And there's another nickname that's very sweet sounding that's kind of has a sweet energy that you use for him that I feel like you only use kind of when he's around. Like just when it's just the two of you, that he likes that a lot too. But that's not my name.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And it's like a very sweet kind of nickname that you only use to get together, like when it's just the two of you together, not when there's people around like us.
Okay, yeah.
And he likes the energy that comes with that too. And honestly, I have to say that this is no disrespect to your posse, to your friends, but he really doesn't want to share you with anybody.
Oh, I know, for sure.
And he doesn't really get he doesn't understand. If there's any confusion, is that he doesn't understand why you don't understand that. It's like, why are you constantly exposing me to all these other people? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because if he gets a little snippy, he's not super crazy about men, you know. So if he gets a little snippy with men, he's more of sort of female-oriented dog. So he's not super crazy about men.
He's the big dog here.
In particular. So he also doesn't like being picked up a lot, except by you, you know. Do you understand that?
Yes.
He really doesn't like that at all. And too many people want to kind of grab at. He doesn't really like being grabbed at.
Yeah.
Does he like snap at people if they pick him up?
No, he's not like a snappy person.
No, but he doesn't
Just
like
children.
that
He just
I'm
doesn't
just
like
kidding.
it.
Honestly, it makes him sick. It makes him nauseous. You know,
Oh, okay.
you know, to get picked up and thrown around. It's sort of like he's also talking about being in a car. The vibrations of it make him sick.
Oh. I got a new car. He's probably hating it.
And well, and the thing about I don't know if it's he didn't say it's a new car, but the other thing he's complaining about, apart the vibrations kind of making him sick, is I smell car exhaust.
Oh, okay.
There's too much of it.
Okay.
You know, and his nose is much more sensitive than mine, so it's than humans.
Yes.
So, if you can smell it, you know, imagine how it must smell to him.
Yeah.
So with wherever he's riding in, there's too many vibrations. I'm sorry, I'm just listening to the energy. He's got a great sense of humor. There's too many he's happy that I'm laughing because he's happy that he's able to express this. Too much vibrations, and the smell of it is too much.
Okay.
The smell of
The exhaust.
exhaust is
Okay.
too much. But he's happy that he can finally this energy is flowing now. He doesn't understand why you don't understand. Why is it just us? Why can't it be just us? I don't really want to share you with anybody.
Yeah.
I really don't. Okay. And there was somebody who was hanging around, like maybe even slept in the bed with him or whatever, who doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, and he's okay with that.
Okay.
Okay. Are
Great.
they coming back?
I don't know. We stepped into my
No.
territory.
Okay.
Dating expert.
Yeah.
And are they coming back? And are they? No.
No.
Okay. So I'll tell him no. So he's okay with that. He doesn't
Okay,
want.
great.
And the bed, if he sleeps in bed with you or wherever he sleeps, it might be a couch. It's too high.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, because he gets nervous about that. He's okay with getting up, but getting down is a little. Which is normal. He's a little dog,
Yeah.
but he wants you to understand that. He's
Okay.
he's like you're a wonderful dog owner because he's very content, as we can see right now. But he wants you to pay attention to more of what he wants.
Okay. I will.
He's a little pushy. Are you picking up on that theme?
Yeah. He's like, lady, wake up.
Yeah, too many people are picking me up. I don't really like it. It makes me nauseous. I don't want to share you with anybody else. And I don't know if it's you or somebody else who hums around him, hums or sings around him, that he likes that very much.
I mean, I sing all the time to
okay.
him.
Okay.
He likes it. I don't know. He howls. I don't know.
No, he's not complaining about
It's a
that. He likes that.
duet.
Okay.
And that's your thing.
Yes.
You know, that's like your thing.
That's what we do together
Yeah.
for sure. Oh.
And he really likes that. Like, he likes having a little stuff that you guys can share. So one of the things I like to do with animals is to do a little medical scan to see if there's anything.
Oh, yes.
Dogs are like babies. They thrive on routine. They like doing the same thing over and over and again. So when something happens that's out of routine, you know, they remember it. So I'm just listening to see if anything. He's talking a little bit. This doesn't feel recent. He's talking a little bit about his eyes being bulgier than normal. A little bulgier than normal and a little itchy.
Or yes, or you see how he has the dark.
Yeah.
They've been watering a lot more than usual.
Okay, because my eyes feel more bulgy than normal, and I feel like it's resolving, though. I don't know that it's starting, but it's still there. He's still talking about it. And it feels like when I bite down on something, my teeth are a little more sensitive.
Yeah, a couple of them are loose. Well, one in the front is loose.
Okay, he's a little worried about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And because that feels like that's getting worse.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that's not going to resolve itself. So you're going to need to. You might end up with expensive dental stuff soon if that's not addressed. Okay. And he feels a little. Dehydrated, like he's not drinking enough water.
Okay.
So be aware of that. Have you changed his dog bowl or his water bowl or the kind of water that you're using? Does that make sense?
Yes, I started using smart water. I've been using spring water. Instead of
he doesn't like it.
He doesn't like it?
It's because the water's different,
Okay.
So he's not drinking as much of it.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, he doesn't like it.
Okay.
He's
This is
just not
good to know.
He's not drinking as much of it, so he's a little dehydrated. And he's showing me something smaller than he is, which is impressive. Little creatures, little animals that he was threatened by, little things that he was a little threatened by that's smaller than him. Like it could be puppies or kittens, but it's small, like mice or rats or small that he was playing with. Oh, it could be squirrels. Thank you. Yeah, small things that he was a little threatened by recently. That he wasn't sure what that was about. By the way, since you're not responding to that, that's a good thing. Often in readings, my spirit guides call them seeds. They like to plant seeds. So something doesn't make sense right off the bat. That's totally cool. Just write it down and it'll make sense later.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
They call it seeds that will bloom at a later date.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time in sessions. So I always tell people don't stretch to make it fit. If something doesn't make sense, that's okay. You're not around your dog 24 hours a day. But he's mentioning that there were little animals that I thought was kind of interesting. So I went to investigate and they scared me. Little things, and I'm seeing it through his eyes, so it's kind of hard to tell. But it might be squirrel. It might be a squirrel because they have long tails. So that's why I was thinking it might be like
skunks, squirrels. Yeah.
Okay, maybe. But he went to investigate, so to speak, and it scared me. And I kind of feel like I might have been looking through a glass door.
I swear to God, that's exactly what I was going to say. Your back door, when you weren't there, something came up to the back door. He investigated, and I saw him run to the sofa.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I have a glass back door, and he could see things through there.
I went to investigate, and he wasn't outside, but I could see outside. And
yes.
So
that makes so much sense.
That scared me. Not me, but scared.
Yes.
Me.
Yes. I figured just a squirrel.
And the other thing, and then we can maybe move on if you want, is there's I don't know where you live, but he can feel energy or vibrations underneath where you live, underneath the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not sure what that means. He's a little confused by that. Does that make sense to you?
I don't know. I don't know if there's skunks that live underneath there or.
Okay, it's for and not. He can feel vibrations,
Yes, I know what it is. It's when the sprinklers go off, it shakes a little bit in my house.
Okay.
Yeah, and it happens at night.
Okay.
Oh, that scared me.
Yeah, it goes zzzz, and he.
Mine's
me.
So one of the things that when dogs are confused about something, and what I find works really well is, do you know creative visualization? That phrase, creative visualization.
Yes.
Where like a pitcher will envision, or a baseball player will envision hitting the home run before he hits. A painter will envision the painting before they start. That really works with dogs.
Okay.
So when you, one of the things you can do is sort of sit with him and envision, that the shaking and scaring him and telling him, I know what that is. I understand what that is. Thank you for telling me. And this is what you don't have to worry about it. Because he's taking his cues from you, and he's not getting some answers on this particular thing.
Yeah.
So he's confused.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you give him something to think, say this is why, as just as the what happened in the wild, the alpha male or female would give guidance to all the rest of the pack. That's what he's looking for, some guidance.
Okay.
And it would help in general if you started telling him what you want.
Okay.
because that will help him settle and be a little bit more obedient. You know, is to kind of be a little bit more, to give him a little bit more training and a little bit more guidance, because right now you might start seeing some behavioral issues pop up, or he's not paying attention to you the way he should. And if you're starting to see it, he needs a little bit more guidance.
Okay.
He needs a little bit more guidance from you, and you're not going to break his spirit.
Okay. Good.
Or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that. I can see you're softy with him, and that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But you're not going to break his spirit by that at all. He's just looking for guidance, and he really, really, really doesn't want to share you. I think we need to go back to that again.
Okay.
So to let him know that you appreciate that and you understand that, but sometimes there are going to be people around, and that's what you want.
Okay.
So he needs to be okay with what you want.
Okay.
Okay. And dogs always, always, always. I shouldn't say always, always, always. 99% of the time. Reflect what's going on with us. I mean, sometimes there are legitimate medical issues, but one of the lessons that our pets, especially our dogs, enact for us is that they live out with issues that are going on with us. So one of the things I would say that has resonance for you that's going on with him is you setting boundaries with people and saying, this is what I want from you, this is what I don't want from you.
Good. This is good.
Does that make
Thank
sense?
you. Yes.
And that will help train people around you for how to treat you.
Okay. Great.
You know, to give them, and you're not going to break their spirit, you know, by saying, this is not acceptable anymore, you know, so you're a lot of fun, but this isn't acceptable anymore. And I think that's something that has resonance for you, you know, just sort of in your regular work.
It really does. Thank you.
Okay. You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Being that animals are a pure heart and soul, is it easier to read animals than human beings that may have doubt, skeptic,
Closed minds.
Is it the spirit still strong enough to break through the skepticism?
I have to say the skeptics are the easiest to read.
Really?
Oh God.
The easiest, you know, really. No, I don't think there is. It helps. It helps. The door is maybe swings open faster, easier, I think, with animals, maybe. But no, I don't find there's a difference, you know, between one or the other. I really don't. And the skeptics are the easiest to read. You know, but the problem is that,
why do you think that is?
well, because they you know, they have no expectation, or their expectation is just this, you know, and this is all you know, meaning I'm sorry, I'm on the radio, but they're expecting one thing, you know. So when something else happens, they're not even putting any energy on anything else. So the problem with reading a skeptic is an actual skeptic is they need to have an open mind. So if something comes along, they may not want to recognize it or believe it. I years ago I read, and I always remembered, I read a guy, his grandmother came through, and afterwards he said, that doesn't prove you spoke to my grandmother. All it proves is I don't know how you did that, you know. And I said, you know what, I'll take it. You know, if that's okay. You know, I mean, this may not be fair to, you know, but, you know, I say, you know, scratch a skeptic and you find a cynic.
Yeah.
You know, so I like a true skeptic, I think, has an open mind. And that guy, I think, was a true skeptic.
Yeah.
You know, he was just like, you know, it's just, maybe you're telepathic. Maybe you did a Google search on me and I somehow, you know, found out about my grandmother, you know. So they're easier. I don't find that harder to read. You know, skeptics.
That's amazing. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to On Air with Tony Sweets. It's his exclusive Truth Be Told show. I'm Eddie Connor.
I'm Tony Sweet.
Demona Hoffman.
Melanie Benz.
And we're here with Benjamin Scuglia.
Scuglia. Good Italian name.
Yeah, it really is. And he is conducting an impromptu seance, a spiritual circle. He just did a reading for Biggie Smalls, the Chihuahua of all that he is. And now you're going to share with us how you tune into people, which are less fun.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't lick your face back yet.
Yeah.
Yes, and thank you again, Melanie, for
thank you so much
for being open to that.
Of course.
Yes. So what I do is I like to. One of the things I really like when we do groups like this and people are kind of open to it is that as we're talking, I sort of start tuning in the radio, and I start saying, okay, who wants to come through first? You know, because they have a much broader perspective of how things are going on than we do. We think very linearly, you know, and they have a much broader perspective. So they know the potentials of what could happen. And so they knew sort of weeks ago. There's no weeks wherever they are, but they knew weeks ago that I would probably be here and that this group of people would probably be here. So if everybody made the right decisions, then we'd all end up in this room. And if they do, then somebody's going to come through for this person.
Love that.
So it's grand and mysterious and strange, for sure.
It sounds like a play.
And I always like to say it's strange. It is.
It is strange.
Even I've been doing this professionally for 12 years, and every single time I do it, I walk away from it going, that's amazing. I don't know, not patting myself on the back, but just going, wow, that they're out there somewhere, that energy is out there somewhere. And the reason, and I'm talking because I'm listening also at the same time, and I'm asking them to organize themselves because there's a lot of
Take a number.
lot here. Yes. I find lately with me that there's a lot of whenever I do group readings, especially, but a lot of the readings I've been doing, there's a lot of activity around, and so I have to. I think that's just a reflection of all the turmoil that's in the world right now and all the sort of change that's underway, and so there's a lot of people that want to talk. They want to give their guidance and their perspective. So I'm asking them to kind of guide them to sort of set themselves up in a row and step forward. And there were 2 or 3 stepping forward. And Eddie, I think this is for you.
Here we go.
There's
It begins.
a male figure who's stepping forward, and he's painting himself or presenting himself like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
And this could be a family, but it feels like but the predominant energy that he's projecting first is friend. This is, I'm your friend, I'm your buddy. This could be family, and if he is, he's projecting himself as friend first, then family second.
Yeah.
And he's presenting himself like, I'm the cheerleader, here I am, and he's pretty flamboyant, in terms of his personality, and he wants to say first that is what I want you to have first. And I'm not looking directly at you. I'm looking at some people that are on the radio first because it helps me to focus if I'm not looking right at you. So if people see that if our eye lines aren't matching on the internet, that's why. And because he wants to say that first, then I'm presenting myself as I'm a cheerleader, and it's a lot of work being the cheerleader for the people that are around you. And so he wants to know that he's willingly taking that job on. And but that aside, he wants that to be the first thing that you heard, so you would laugh first, because he's pretty pissed that he's there and not here.
Oh God, that's so true.
And he's really, really wants you to know that if he could have done anything to stay, he would have. Like anything else. Is this starting to resonate at all?
1,000%.
And he says, boy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for opening the door for me and preparing everything for me and everything that you did when I went. And I'm so pissed that I couldn't stay longer. And there's a tremendous amount of anger that
you have an open jaw here with Eddie.
do you understand when he's talking about his tremendous anger?
Yes.
And when he was here?
Yes.
And he's really sorry about that. He's really, really sorry for how that lashed out. And he's like, I understand now. He's sort of saying, I understand now why you put up with everything that you put up with. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
And so, like, again, if it does, don't stretch to make it fit, but I'm glad it does. He's like, I understand now why you put up with everything that you put up with, and I'm so sorry that I wasn't more in a better place to kind of appreciate that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But he's so pissed that he's still there and that he's there and not here, his work. He's in. To me.
Oh, good.
And he understood everything you said, even when he wasn't around. I mean, everything you said, kind of, and he's not hurt. Does that make sense? He's not offended.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to. He's not offended, so you don't have to worry about that. He was serious. He's also working on his body issues. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's working on his body issues, and that's like his anger and his body issues are really, really working on. And he's really proud of how much progress you've made in that respect. Does that make sense?
Yes.
He's really proud, and he's like, wow. He's almost like he's observing you and how you're doing it. And he said, isn't it funny how I'm on this side learning from you and you're there? But he really is. He's really observing. He's really proud of you and the progress that you've made in terms of relating to your body and your body issues, and letting yourself be seen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. He's saying, I could never really do that. I could never really get that. I never really did. If I got it, it was like I got it for like a second and then it was gone. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It's like I got it for a second and then it was gone. And he says, I would never have been as one of the things he's really happy about having learned from you and got from you is I never would have become what I became if it weren't for you. If it weren't for you sort of dragging me there. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, I drag him.
And dragging him there is the real operative phrase there. Like, you dragged me. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes. With love.
And he really, really, really appreciates everything that you did. He really does. And that's why he's your cheerleader now. He wanted that image to be the first thing that you got before we started talking about everything else. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
And he's got like 2 or 3 family members, female family members in particular, who are pretty stern, who are in spirit, that are still stern. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And they kind of want you to know we are cracking the whip on this son of a bitch. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Like, if you think because we're dead we're going to be easy on him, it's not going to happen. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I would say that you are still, if you aren't already, you will still have entanglements with his family. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That how do we? I'm trying to get him to order this because boy does it have him hopped up. If you want to walk away from it completely, you have permission. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to feel any more obligation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. If you try to do that, they're going to fuss. Does that make sense?
I think so. I think that part does.
Okay. You have his permission. It's like, but not yet. There's like 2 or 3 things with like mom or grandma or mom or aunt or auntie. There's like 2 or 3 things with like female members that are still here. Does that make sense at all? That haven't quite kind of finished that you need to kind of see through. I know you know what that means.
Yes.
Not quite done with that. But once that sort of is, you kind of put a period on the end of that sentence, then you can walk away and you don't have any more. You don't have anything else to worry about. You can walk away. Don't worry about it. Boy, is he happy that he can tell you this. Boy, is he thrilled. There's 2 or 3 dogs that are following him around. 2 or 3, I would say, that are in spirit.
Yeah.
2 or 3, maybe 4. But they're following him around. He's got his own sort of little pack that are kind of following him around that are sort of related to you and related to him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. But more than 1, 2 or 3 or 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not 2. There's like 3 or 4.
It's a menagerie.
And they haven't gone anywhere either, obviously.
That's crazy.
And there's he's sending me pictures of horses and imagery of horses. Does that make any sense at all?
Not off the cuff,
Okay.
but I'll think about it.
Okay, that's.
Well, I lived on a horse ranch for 15 years.
Oh well, there you go. Okay.
Sorry.
Duh.
Because I asked him to say, I said, let's put a period on the end of the sentence and give me something that that has immediate resonance for him. He went, okay, tell him about horses.
And that's no way he could not have ever known that because that happened after he passed away.
Mm.
Yeah.
And he's really working. He's really working hard, and he's really proud of all the work that you've done. All the progress that you've made. And he's kind of going, you wouldn't have gotten there if I hadn't been there either.
Oh,
That's
true.
So I'm giving you credit for everything that you've done, and now I'm I'm taking some credit for what he's got quite a personality on him, I gotta say.
Little Miss Tammy.
And now you've got somebody else coming through, and they're not going to talk a lot, but it's a female, I would say like a teacher, who was like a teacher when you were little.
Wow.
And she's little. I mean, you were little, and she wants to come through, and it's like she played with you. She played with you. When you were little, and she was like a teacher. And does that make any sense at all, or is that just not? It doesn't feel like it's connecting.
I think I know who that is.
It was a while ago. It's not recent.
Yeah. Yes, I think I know who that is, and I would not have known she passed.
Okay. So she just wanted to acknowledge that she was proud that she could kind of be a placeholder for you. You know, does that make sense?
Yes.
Sort of be a placeholder for you for like an adult sort of guidance that you needed, you know, sort of at that point. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And she was proud that she was able to do that. And she just kind of wants to go, hey.
Hey.
And I know this is a little bit of a dramatic question, but do you know somebody that passed in water or through water, like drowned or drowned in water?
Yes.
Okay, because that's the first thing that's coming through, and that's still their. I have to say this is that they're being shepherded in, and when that usually by that I mean their spirit guides are guiding them in. They haven't evolved to the point sort of on the other side, on the spirit side, to where they can sort of come through and communicate.
Mm-hmm.
They're still traumatized.
Yes.
They're still in therapy, so to speak. So they're being shepherded in. But this person who crossed in water, their work is getting done, and they're not taking responsibility for how it happened. They're not taking responsibility. It happened to me.
Yeah.
I didn't do it to myself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You need to know that. You need to know that, and that's the main message. Pardon me, that they want to know. Whew, that's coming through really strong. You need to know that I didn't do this to myself. You did it to me. Does that make sense? I mean, you didn't do it to me, but I didn't do it to myself.
Right.
This happened to me. There's a really, really strong sense of victimhood. You know, like I was victimized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, they're pissed. So I can see. So I can see why they were shepherded in, because their sort of spirit guides are going. You know what? It's important for you to hear this. And there's still some resonance to their family or their loved ones to this day that may help hearing that. Does that make sense at all to you?
Yes. Yes.
Here, the thing though, be judicious about with whom you share that information. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Because it still feels like that's pretty raw. That's pretty raw how it happened or the circumstances around it. Still feels pretty raw.
Mm-hmm.
So be judicious, and I know you will. You have a very open heart. So be judicious about how you share that information, about whether it feels appropriate.
Thank you.
I would say this person, if you were to be haunted by anyone, this person would do it. So this person, around running water, if you get a sense of, whenever you're running water, if you get a sense of something like when your water's boiling or the shower's running and that typical horror movie thing,
Yes.
And you get that sense of something around, something's happening, it's this person. Does that make sense?
Yes, we hold the energy of this vortex, bitches.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But you see, we hold, we set that resonance, and you guys did that with me. And so the spirit guides came in and said, this person didn't come in and start slamming the table. The spirit guides came in and said, we want you to hear a little bit from this person, but we're going to guide them in. Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
So, boy, they're like clearing the deck. They're like everybody wants to come in through. And I think we're hearing from a cousin who's crossed. I would say two.
There's a lot of family I don't know because my dad was a Rolling Stone child.
Okay. I would say two cousins, male and female, who are kind of coming through like frick and frack. Slightly older generation, I would say.
Yeah.
And they're coming through just to kind of acknowledge that we're here, and it's like they've got a comedy routine, and and they're but again, I just as soon as I said the comedy routine, they tried to stop me from saying that because they wanted it to be that we should have been more respectful.
Wow.
We should have been more respectful. Is that what do you understand that way? If they would say that, we should have been more respectful. Mm-hmm. Do you understand that?
100%. We'll be talking off the air, y'all.
Okay. Right. We should have been more respectful, and we're sorry about that. We should have been more respectful, and we're sorry about that. And they tried, as soon as I said the comedy routine, they tried to stop me. I almost got a slap on the wrist. Like, don't be disrespectful. Goodness gracious, you have so many people around you.
Oh,
so
Lord.
That's come in. And I think you have another friend who's coming through. This is a friend who's not blood related, but might as well have been. Who passed, not recently, but not within the last few years, I would say. But it was a pretty gross crossing. I mean, in terms of the disease or high sickness, it was ravaged.
Yeah.
And he is embarrassed that it happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And he appreciates that you created a space for him to kind of feel that. And not, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
He really, really appreciates how you were of service in that way. He doesn't want to say much more than that, but he really appreciates how he was so embarrassed and you got that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And the primary thing that came through that he's still working on is, boy, was I embarrassed. I was just so humiliated. Excuse me. I was humiliated. And there's this very strong sense of humiliation, and he was really, really envious of you. Did you understand? Did you know that?
No.
He was really envious of your, he saw you as being a lot more free, a lot more free of the stuff that was happening to him. Like, why is this happening to him and not to you?
Yeah, I probably lost truly 40 close friends during the AIDS epidemic. And
Okay.
yeah, so I know who you're talking about. I know the two you're talking about.
Okay, good. I know, because I'm not giving names, but names don't often come through for me.
Right,
So,
that's okay.
but if you understand, if you understand who I'm talking about,
Yes.
I know you do.
Wow.
And he said he had he has animals associated with him too.
Yes.
That he wants you to know that he's surrounded by, and he's kind of getting to be like an animal expert now.
Wow.
Does that make that he couldn't hear, but he is now? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. He's like, I get to do that now. I get to kind of be around animals now. I get to do all that stuff now. And the thing I sort of, your spirit guides, I guess I would say, is like, boy, it's like grandmother. It's like a grandmother spirit guide. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But it might also be like great grandmother though. Did you know like your great grandmother?
My great-grandmother, grandmother, mom, psychic. All three were psychic.
Okay.
But I didn't know her, but I hear the stories.
Okay, because I know grandmother, but you've got all that energy around you, but this feels like great grandmother.
Okay.
She's like, you have no idea how big it is here. You have no idea how I can go everywhere. And she's talking about how I can travel now. Like I can go places now.
Yeah.
And I never really could. Like it's like, your great grandmother. So she may have come from the old country. So that's an easy thing for me to guess. But she's talking about like, I went back to the old country.
Mm-hmm.
I can go to the old country now. I can go back and do all that now. I can go back and see things now.
And she doesn't have to use a mule.
And so she kind of wants you to keep that in mind as you continue to progress spiritually as a teacher and as a guide, is that there's so much going on there. There's so much, it's so big. It's like when we cross, we're not limited to having to go one place or another.
Exactly.
And she wants you to keep that in mind as you, in the weeks and months ahead, as you have other opportunities to guide people sort of spiritually or whatever. She wants you to know that. She wants you to keep that message in mind. And that's a little bit of a seed we're going to be planting.
Perfect.
So when that starts to bloom in a few weeks or a few months, let me know. Because, that idea about giving that lesson.
And if you're just tuning in, we're listening to Benjamin Scuglia.
Scuglia.
Psychic medium, pet communicator. We're in house with
Tony Sweet.
Eddie Connor.
Demona Hoffman.
Melanie Benz.
And
Biggie Smalls.
Yeah,
Biggie Small.
And we have about 12 more minutes. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's about right.
And
Please. No, please. Did you have any questions?
No, I am just like, you cleaned my clock really good.
My pleasure.
Yeah, just flip me out.
Cleaned it and polished.
Yeah.
It's
like it pledge over there.
Thank you for being open to
Thank you.
hearing it. I appreciate that.
Oh my God. Yeah, they're lined up like at a
Does
bus
that wear
stop.
you out? Being that many people come through at that many, that all at once?
No, and it's very. I'm so glad you asked that question, because years ago when I was studying with under my channeling mentor, I came out of I said that I was like, oh, I'm exhausted, I'm so tired, and I asked the sort of my channeling her spirit guide about that, and the spirit guide said, well, that's all you. We would never be a part of something that would deprive you. We would never be a part of a process that would take something away from you. Never.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come out of it and you feel exhausted, that's you. That's you. That's you feeling exhausted. That's you. We would not do that to you. So I don't feel exhausted. I get thirsty. I get a little wrung out. It's sort of like if you're constantly making conversation.
I passed you some water
Thank
down
you.
there earlier.
Thank you. I have so many bottles of
Maybe
water.
I'm psychic. I was feeling it.
There you go.
You
You
guys
are,
are
girl.
so welcoming. I have all these bottles of water.
So when his water breaks,
gonna
we predicted it first.
Like if you're making a lot of conversation at a party, sometimes you feel a little, it can be a little much, all that energy coming at you. But I've been doing it long enough now that I know how to kind of center myself, and I know how to kind of go, okay. And it changed I'm an introvert, and it changed my life recently to learn how introverts and extroverts work.
Yep.
You know, where an extrovert gathers energy from being social interaction, whereas an introvert it's depleted by social interaction, and you need to go away periodically and recharge.
Yeah.
And I apply that to, you know, spirit work as well. Sometimes, you know, I have to kind of go away for a couple of days and reboot,
and
you know, recharge.
And so, you know, like for Eddie, being a psychic, do you think that a lot of his people came forward so aggressively? I don't know if that's the right term, because he's more open through as a psychic, or
I think they were just excited by the opportunity, you know, I don't know that they would come together. That's an interesting question. I'm trying to think if that's happened with other psychics that I've read. No, I don't know. I don't think so. You know, I think it's just there were so many of them ready to take the opportunity, you know, and your first friend who came through said, I'm the cheerleader. I mean like the traffic cop here. Good Lord.
That's totally Tim.
So,
and he's the name I put at the top of my list.
Oh, to come through?
Yep.
I'm so glad. Oh, thank you for that validation. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, and something in the very top, you said Mona. And when Melanie and I were walking in, she said for Biggie's best friend, little soulmate's name was Mona. And Mona passed away this year.
She passed away.
And she said, I just want a sign that Mona's around. And you totally just went Mona.
I said
Mona.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what's? Can I tell you that when I was making a joke, but when I said Mona, in my head I thought, where did you come up with Mona? Why didn't you say Michael or something random, some other common name? Where did you come up with
Yeah, because
Mona?
Mona is not necessarily so common.
I was thinking
That's so funny.
Mona is less common.
Oh yeah.
We haven't gotten there.
I know you said you had some animal Demona you wanted to talk about.
I do. Yes.
Can we do? Oh, so what's the one that's living?
The one that's living.
What?
They're both.
Oh, they're
living.
both okay. I think you have you have animals that are in spirit that are all over you.
get him off.
What are their names?
Bosworth and Marmalade.
Bosworth and Marmalade.
I mean, those names. Are you kidding me?
Those names.
Love it.
Are they dogs?
Yes.
Okay, because I always ask because animals don't gender identify. They don't species identify like we do. So they don't think I'm a female dog. They don't think that way. Bosworth and Marmalade, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So
But don't let Marmalade take over the conversation.
Well, I want to say first that whenever I'm reading packs, whenever I'm reading groups, I don't know why this happens for me, but there's a lot of jumping that happens a lot. Like the channel switches on the radio station, I don't know why that happens, but it does. You know, I wish I could sort of from the get-go. That's the way it's been.
And what you're saying is what you're saying when it channel switches, it's going from one to the other, back and forth.
Yeah,
right?
like where
With
I'm
no
thinking.
Control.
Yeah, well, I think I'm reading information coming from Bosworth, but you're sitting there going, that totally applies to Marmalade.
Okay.
You know, that happens all the time.
I'll be able to decipher.
They're
They're very different.
So the first thing they want to say is that they see an older male in spirit who is hanging around you all the time. That's the first thing they want to talk about. Okay. Dogs relate to the world through their nose, and so when they see something that they can't smell, they find it curious. So he hangs around, and he pretty much follows you around, and he's older, and he feels like dad or uncle, you know, that kind of energy, and he sort of feels like it's his responsibility to make sure you're raised right. Does that make any sense? Is that ringing any bells? Okay.
Keep going.
So he feels like it's his responsibility to make sure you're raised right, and he feels like he needs to protect you, and he doesn't have to do as much protection because there's some people, male people who are not in your life now or not in your life as much, and so he doesn't have to be around as much to kind of crack the whip on them. Does that make sense?
Keep going.
Okay. So he hangs around a lot, and he makes music. He makes noise along that. You know, he kind of keeps the dogs company in that respect. He makes noise. He makes music to it. He knows that they see him. So he's very active in that way, and he's not trying to hide himself from them. And he gets mad at your neighbors for not being more peaceful for you. He gets mad at people who are not creating a peaceful environment for you. I'm just destroying this candle that's in front of me. Let me put that down. And so he feels very protective, like he needs to, if he could sort of slap your wrist very gently, it's like you're not learning your lessons about the people that you're hanging out with. You're too, he would like you to be more discerning.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, yes.
In particular, as it relates to men. To be more discerning about men that come into your aura, that come into your sense circle, that come into your space.
Okay.
Does that make sense? In particular, your living space.
Oh, sorry.
Eddie's fooling around over
I was
there.
going to put my hand in your
Oh,
space.
in my space.
So the dogs see this, and and he feels like father, teacher, uncle, in that respect, and he wants you to be more discerning about the people, that especially the men, that he doesn't feel like you are. He may not be entirely fair. I want to put that,
Okay.
this may not be entirely fair to you and to your maturity, but he's looking at you like a girl, like he's looking at you that way. So that's what the dogs see. And so now we'll switch back to the dogs because we're running out of time. Bosworth, I think Bosworth is talking about his ears.
Yeah.
Okay. That hasn't resolved. That's not getting better. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
And
Yes.
it's gotten to the point now where he doesn't know what to do about it. Like he's concerned. He's worried. Because it's not resolving. And I would say it's that he's getting a little. It's like interfering with my ability to know where you are. So I'm getting a little confused. I'm feeling a little confused. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like my sense of location is off.
Yeah,
that
it
makes
makes
sense?
total sense.
So it feels like it's internal. It doesn't feel like it's something that it's something that's coming from me. Like I ate something that made me sick. You know what I mean? It feels like it's something that developed from inside. And so he doesn't know what to do about that. And I also feel like this is a little bit gross, but like I want to vomit, but I can't, or like I want to vomit.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Like
I'm going to. Devon's nodding in the back. Okay.
Actually, that's marmalade.
That's
probably.
marmalade? Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I can't, and that's alarming, to me. Like, why isn't this happening? So, can you do something about that, please? Please do something about that. And I want to go outside more than I can. Then you're letting me go. Does that make sense? Are you not letting them out more as much as you want? Why are you not letting me outside? I need to go take care of things.
Bosworth or marmalade? I'm so confused.
Okay, that's okay. Where I'm throwing a lot of stuff
Should
at
I
you.
say something? Like, can I?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
I don't want to give too much away, but maybe you should keep talking.
Okay. Well, just it kind of makes sense for one of them that they want to go outside more than and to take care of business, to take care of things, and they can't go outside. They want to go outside. You're keeping me cooped up.
It makes sense that he feels confined,
Okay.
and that was actually kind of my big question.
Okay, because again, I say it may not be. This is part of the problem of being a pet owner, is that you can't reason with your pets. You can't explain to them why you're doing the things that you're doing is for their own interests.
Can you explain it to him?
Yeah, I will. Well, like I was saying to her earlier, they understand energy that you project.
Yeah.
They understand your intentions. So when you tell him this is what I want, they'll understand that eventually.
Okay.
And this is what he would like from you: is direct one-on-one time.
Yeah.
Meaning, don't do anything else, because whenever you're with him, your energy is still somewhere else. Meaning, I'm watching TV, or I'm on the internet, or I'm on the phone, or talking to somebody else, and you're not paying attention to me.
Yeah.
So I would like you to pay attention to me, and not have your energy be anywhere else. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And when you do that, when you're in that space, then you can start saying, this is what I need to, this is what I want from you. This is why you feel confined. This is what I am telling you. You're the pack leader, and you're giving him guidance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Great.
Yeah.
No, perfect timing and
Zippy.
right. This is great stuff. And if you guys would like to contact Benjamin, you can go to 500turtles.com.
Yes.
Contact information there.
Yes, there is, and I'm also on 500 Turtles on Twitter.
On
as
Twitter.
well. The website 500turtles.com is in development,
Uh-huh.
but I'm pretty active on Twitter, so you can find me there.
And just so you know that if you're just tuning in, that we say Seance. Seance is very hyped up when it comes
Indeed.
to Hollywood.
It's so Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, Hollywood.
We do
with
have
the
candles, though.
yeah, we do have. But if the tables lift and that is very hyped up, and that's not how seances actually run. So mediums are. Eddie, will you explain real quick before we go the difference between psychic and a medium one more time?
For me personally, a psychic is somebody who tunes into the immediate energy, which is predominantly what I am. What's going on around in their energy field with love, money, career, and or other specific questions they ask. And medium is when you talk to dead people and they come through very clearly and you see them, hear them, sense them, know them, or feel them. But a medium's mostly dead people. A psychic is mostly what's going on in your energy field with predictions and that sort of thing. And a psychic medium does a little bit of both. That's
Perfect.
and an animal communicator talks to animals. house.
Exactly.
And so, Melanie, why don't you tell us where people can contact you or follow you on Twitter or
Nowhere.
no? Don't find me.
Do
I
not
want to be alone.
find me.
Do not- that's a great that's a
Biggie
great
would be
attitude.
very, very jealous.
I know.
That's right.
Biggie doesn't want to share you, so
Exactly.
he'd be fine
I'm
with
sorry.
that.
I can't give you any information.
Right.
Look, he looked up.
He's like, what?
He perked
What
up
was
just
that?
as soon as we started.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. I am on Twitter at Mel Benzo, and I'm on Instagram at Melabenz. I guess
Melabins.
that's it.
Miss Demona.
You can find me here on UBN Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m. talking about dating and relationships, and the show is Dates and Mates, and the website is datesandmates.com.
And we
It's
love
fabulous.
this.
So it's interesting that your guide was coming through and saying, be more discerning about the men that are. That's interesting that was a lesson.
It's
for
It's
you.
very interesting considering I'm married.
I know, right?
Well, he wasn't saying he wasn't coming down on it. He was just saying be more discerning about that.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
What's it like when they go down on you in spirit? Just
Oh,
curious.
I was getting ready to go. What are you?
We'll save that for
What
another
kind of
yeah,
show
I
is
was
this?
like, what are you
Hold on a
talking about? Well, thank you guys. Now we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a room full of people in the paranormal worlds.
Mhm.
Yes. So we're going to stick around for the Halloween, truth be told, on our Tony Suite on Universal Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Eddie Poo Poo Butt.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Be
Thank
right
you.
back.
Thank you.